Everyone, in today's webinar with Dirk Withake. The title is Shameless Project Marketing. Our agenda starts at 18 till 18:10. I will speak about the topic suggested conduct, PMI chapter, the local group Darmstadt, introduction of today's speaker. Dirk will take over in 18 and 10 minutes until 19 and 20 minutes, and afterwards we're going to rate this. You are going to rate this event with Mentimeter, and I'm going to give you more information on next events and of course the PDU claim. So the suggested conduct guidelines are: please mute your microphone during the session. Use your full name to help us identify you for the PDUs. Feel free to turn on your video if you like. Use the chat window to ask questions, comments, or share your LinkedIn link for networking. You're welcome to contact the speakers directly with any follow-up questions. This session, as you know, is going to be recorded. Recording and transcribing this session by participants or AI bots is strictly prohibited except by the organizers. So the PMI Germany chapter at glance has merged from from 4 chapters in 2020. From PMI Frankfurt chapter was the first chapter in Europe in 1988. The scale of the whole PMI community is 5 regions, 25 plus local groups. It's a multinational community of about 6,195 PMI chapter members from 40 plus countries, 150 dedicated individuals dedicated to supporting the profession by empowering leaders, facilitating learning, fostering networking opportunities, and driving social impact through projects and working groups on regional and local events. The pointed arrow is where the local group Darmstadt is located. The local group Darmstadt is an English-speaking community with 7 volunteers from 6 different countries. We have 2 online events per month and 1 roundtable, face-to-face roundtable per month. On average, we have 35 attendees, 110 plus attendees participated 10 plus time. And of course, we have a LinkedIn group with 520 plus members. So now introducing our speaker, Dirk Withake. He's a business unit director at Frequentis AG and PMI Austria chapter president. PMI and all of the titles that you can see on the screen. He's a senior program portfolio management leader with 25 plus years of international experience. He's a formal consultant for global companies, IT and large-scale transformation projects across Europe and the US. He's a contributor, of course, to PMI Global Standards, PMI Book, Guide, and related frameworks. His focused areas are portfolio management, PMO leadership, strategy execution, project recovery, and complexity management. He's an active speaker, lecturer, and a PMI volunteer in international project management community. Dirk, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Let me share my screen, and I would like to ask for a signal if indeed you see my screen.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do, and let me get this out of the way, is you've seen the rules, how we do this here. And shameless as I am, I will immediately ask to occasionally break one of the rules. And that is you were asked to mute your phone, your microphone. There will be points in presentation where I ask you to unmute, actually. I would appreciate a little bit of your participation, because that wouldn't be shameless. That would be very awkward if there would be complete silence when I ask for that one. But hey, first of all, I really do appreciate the invitation by the Darmstadt group of the PMI Germany chapter to present here on shameless project marketing, how to sell your project, your team, and yourself. And thanks for attending. This is great. So why is this shameless project marketing? most of you in the call, not all I see, but most of you are born in Germany, as I am actually. Again, as I moved to Austria more than 25 years ago, but doing marketing for what you do and doing marketing for yourself is quite often considered a little bit shameless in German society. Still, there's this old saying, I'm going to do this, Reden ist Silber, Schweigen ist Gold. That's what I learned as a child. Well, actually, in business context, that is not really correct. And I remember, and I'm going to talk about that one when that perception changed for me. But before going there, we're talking about how to sell a project, your team, and yourself over the next roughly an hour. Let's break some, hang on, come on. Yeah, let's break some ice. And immediately I'm going to ask you to unmute and shamelessly shout the names of famous project or programs you know, from business programs or project, government, culture, society, anything. What are famous project names you know?
Boston's Big Dig.
Yes. Boston's Big Dig. I heard that one before. Give me another one.
Apollo 21.
Sorry, come again?
Stuttgart 2021.
Yeah. Oh, more a little bit infamous though, but still very well known.
2031 now.
Okay. Give me more.
Apollo,
Give me a few more.
Apollo 13.
Apollo. I mean Apollo in general, but Apollo 13 especially. Yes. Give me more.
The Manhattan Project.
The Manhattan Project. It even says project. Well, here we go. Give me one more. Anyone been into the movies lately? Come on.
Hamburg Philharmony.
Yes, but there's anyone been to the movies lately? The Astronaut, the movie.
Oh,
you know
Hail
what
Mary?
Okay.
Project Hail Mary.
Hail Mary.
It's the
Yes.
time of the book and the movie actually. So you see, we had Apollo, we had the Big Dig, we had Stuttgart 2131. Let's see, and others. You remember these names because at the end of the day, this is what project marketing does. So that projects like Apollo, which is now more than 50 years ago, are still remembered by that name. If I say the word Apollo, everyone in the world will first, I mean, maybe except some professors for Greek archaeology, I mean, everybody else will think about the moon landing, not about the god Apollo of the Greeks. So that is what project marketing can do. Now, let's talk about this a little bit. Briefly, I mean, I already got introduced, so doing this a second time would be very shameless, but actually as well quite boring, so I move on to the agenda. So we're going to talk today about what actually is project marketing and why should you do this. Then we're going to cover marketing before and at project start, during the project, and after the project. And then we get to a very special topic, marketing of project failures. Yes, you can even do that one, but it is a very double-edged sword to wield, so you need to be careful with that one, but still it's something to be considered. We talk about the don'ts of project marketing, some key takeaways, and then at the end, questions and answers, and questions during the presentation. Quick questions I'm going to try to answer immediately, and I would like to ask Olja and Thomas to inform me if there are any questions, because I don't see them here on the screen, okay? Would appreciate that one, then just let me know. Quick ones I will address immediately, longer ones I will put to the end to the question and answer session. All right, the learning objective, yes. It's understand why it's a no-brainer to actively marketing your project and program. What are the good practices of doing that one? So let's talk first about what is project marketing. And project marketing lives in relationship with project communication management, which probably all of us know, and project stakeholder management. There is an overlap, absolutely, but it's not the same thing. I want to be clear. Let me explain. So, If you look at project marketing, the focus is here promoting the project and team. And that is different to communications management and stakeholder management. In communications management, we ensure that appropriate information is given to the stakeholders. This is the what, the when, and the how. And the project stakeholder management talks about how to identify and analyze the stakeholders to whom we give that information during the project. So with project communication management, we only want to focus really on the hard facts, as we say in German, Zahlen, Daten, Fakten. So as correct and unbiased as possible. And both happen during the project, and both are represented in the PMBOK. So the outcomes of project communication management is that stakeholders informed of stakeholder management, of having the stakeholder engaged. Project marketing is something different. It's to promote the project and the team. It talks about, it focuses the why. And that goes beyond the project, not just during the project. It starts before the project, really kicks off, and it continues after the project. A good chunk of actually project work happens after the project. And no, you won't find this in the PMBOK. It is being indirectly addressed. And the outcome that we're after with project marketing is stakeholder support. You can't guarantee full stakeholder support by just telling them the facts. I mean, that's certainly helpful if you have good facts to tell. But the marketing is really, why are we actually doing this whole thing here? And if you stick up for definitions, I have one for you. According to PMI, project marketing, also marketing by the project, refers to the marketing of a project to its stakeholders. Part of stakeholder engagement process, not fully, but still. And from another marketing done by the contractor to win this and future projects, though we're not focusing on this one. So it's kind of a little bit neglected thing, and that is honestly speaking a pity. Why? Why is it a pity? Why do I talk about project marketing? Takes me back to my time as a student. Takes me actually back to the very first semester. I was at university, the Royal University of Bochum, in Germany. And the very first lecture, actually, I had in the so-called Audimax with about 700, 800 other students. And we had there this old grizzled professor for business administration. And he came to the stage, essentially, to his podium and said, "Dear ladies, dear gentlemen, you will, most of you, or some of you will be here for the next 5, 6, some of you maybe 7 or 8 years. Some of you won't make it that far and will not make it to the end. But for all of you, we're going to teach a lot of theories and what have you. But in the end, it all comes down to one thing. And please mark this. And this is the most important thing." And everybody was obviously listening at that point. What could be this great reveal of a golden knowledge nugget? Well, he said, I first say it in German, then in English. He said, "Tue Gutes und sprich darüber. Do good stuff and talk about it." Why? If you do good stuff and you do not talk about it, then you will not get far in your career. If you don't do good stuff and talk about it, you might have, if you're lucky, a start of a career, but at some point it will fizzle out because you will be found out. If you don't do good stuff, you don't talk about it, well, then you won't have a career at all. So do good stuff and talk about it. Now, as for our project managers here, what is good stuff? Well, PMI has an answer to that one since about 2 years. Good stuff is project success. And we learned from this big report of PMI, the definition of project success. It is that the value a project delivers is higher than the effort to realize this project plus the expenses to realize this project. If you achieve that one, you have project success. And in our context, this is the good stuff. Now, how does project marketing help with this one? In PMI, we have a certain fascination with so-called flywheels. Let me talk about the flywheel of project marketing. And it starts with marketing at project start. You start there. Let's start there. And with good project marketing, you have a much better chance to get the resources and the team you want for your project. That puts you in the best position possible for marketing during the project and deliver the project successfully. So with the marketing during the project, you keep the stakeholders and the team engaged. You deliver the project successfully. That gives you the basis to market the project success. This gives your project, your team, and yourself visibility and reputation. And that increases your chances significantly to get the project you want. And guess what? Once you get your next project, you do project and marketing start, and the cycle starts again. And so round and round we go, always upwards, ideally. Now, let's you can't grab your neighbor, obviously, but could I get something here from the audience? Unmute again. Some really cool and some really bad project names of projects you have worked on. Let's start with some really bad project names. Some really boring project names. No one wants to confess?
Rhine-Main Transition Program.
Okay. That is not super inspiring, but okay. But I've heard worse.
Better product X or X.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not defined what better is.
Yeah, that is one. My first project literally was I'm going to translate this in R3 release upgrade 2.1 to 3.3 for Czech Republic. Module materials management and production planning. You know how much time it takes to say this and write this? I mean, the project is half done before you've written this once, such a long term. But sometimes projects are called this, and this is a pity. Now give me some cool project names you've worked on. Any cool names? No cool project names? Oh, there's so much to do here. Beethoven, not too bad. Not too bad. Not too bad. Can anyone beat Beethoven? Okay, Beethoven is the best. Well, let's talk about, in this case, about shameless marketing before and at projects. So let's focus on branding. And I give you some of the projects I've worked on. I'm currently working on Project Lion and Project Dino. I had, for example, Project Alhambra. I had Project Contiki. I had Project Calypso. I had Project Blackbird. I had Project Constellation. And I had Project AC/DC, GoldenEye, Slinky and Rex, Optimus, and so on. So I worked for several years as a consultant, gone through a lot of different companies, and I talk about a few examples now. So first, when you talk about branding, you should give your project a good name. What is a good name? What are the do's of proper branding? You give the project a short, memorable name that everyone can remember and easily say or write. it should be easy to pronounce and write, definitely. So there should not be an ambiguity how to spell it or what have you. And I see quite often, so for example, lion or dino, or Slinky or Rex or Optimus are short, and there's pretty clear how to write them. And the link to the project in the name is optional. If you can make it, nice, but I see sometimes teams trying to get this abbreviation of their project content somehow fitting to a name, and this is quite often quite awkward. I would consider strictly optional. Okay. The name should be appropriate for your context. I'm going to give you an example. More than 15 years back, I worked as a consultant in London with an international media and entertainment conglomerate, better known as the House of Mouse. You know what I'm talking about? And I had the project Slinky and Rex. And the two projects merged. And so we had to come up with a name for this one. And someone suggested, let's call it Slex. And they said, no, we can't have that one, not in this company. That is too close to another word, will never happen. Okay. Then at another company I worked for, a British oil and gas company, they had the rule. The project name has to be either Greek mythology or James Bond. So I had Project GoldenEye. I had Project Nike. And that went pretty well. I had, when I worked as well for a movie studio, names like Optimus, for example. So these are all good names. But it's important to get the team and the sponsor involved for approval, especially the sponsor. And I remember one SAP project that is no more than 20 years ago, where the sponsor of the client company said, the CFO, I want to call this project Aphrodite. And the team wasn't thrilled at all. And so we couldn't basically get the sponsor off that one, but we made them sure that this project name was really in small characters, font size, and we call it usually Project A and not the full name. So, but it is what it is sometimes. So what are the don'ts of branding? Don't recycle names. You know, project name that is quite often used for a restructuring project is the project name Phoenix. You know, Phoenix, heard the story? The bird burns up at night and is reborn from its ashes in the morning. Greek mythology. So, if there was a Project Phoenix some years back of a restructuring, where you had the full burning of the bird, but no resurrection from the ashes in the morning, well, kind of fizzled out, then this name might have a bad reputation. You want to be very careful if you want to reuse this name. So make sure to check if you settle on a name that this name has been used before, especially in a not so successful context. Avoid potentially unfortunate interpretations, especially if you have international projects with different languages, where different words might have different connotations in different contexts. Be careful. Mind copyrights. Yes. When I was working as a project manager for a movie studio, we had the project Optimus. And that was a time when the Transformer movies were quite well known. And as you probably know, some of you, Optimus Prime, that was the original title of our project, is one of the main heroes in these movies. And we were told, hey, if you take this name, even just for internal usage, you will have to pay royalties to the director. And this will be very expensive. So you want to be careful with that one. So we shorten it to just Project Optimus to avoid this. And obviously, don't be too shameless You can be a little bit interesting. You can push a little bit the envelope depending on your industry and organizational context, but don't be too shameless. There's some stuff that pushes it too far. Okay. So much about branding. So if you don't have a cool project name that everybody's referring to, then you might think about that one. I'm reporting to a CEO, and when I take on a new project, for example, side project, my CEO always asks me, "So, Dirk, what is the name this time around? Enlighten me." So he expects this, and especially if you are the only one in your organization who uses cool project names, you will stand out, and your project will stand out, and your project team will stand out for this. Okay? Now, once you've settled on the project name, let's move on. Shameless marketing before an ad project start. Why would you do this? Because you want to get the project you want to get the funding you need, you want to get the best resource and team members available if you can. And your start position for that marketing effort is a public image of your past projects, honestly speaking. So you come with the street credibility and reputation or lack thereof. Now, how to do that one? First of all, you need to tell a great story about the project you're about to embark on and focus on the why. I want to give you an example of this. What is a great story you can tell? Again, for this one entertainment company, I was a program manager of a project that reshaped the whole European logistical infrastructure, swapping out 5 warehouses across the European continent and UK, and reconfiguring the whole distribution network until December. That is a factually correct statement of what this project is about. Sounds impressive, but not very motivating. Now I'm going to tell you the story that we told everybody, the project stakeholders, the project team members, and it goes like this. We need to get this done until the beginning of December. Why? And we had 8 months for that one, by the way. Every child in Europe should have the DVD, Blu-ray, the movie that she or he wants and asks Santa Claus for. Should have that one on a Christmas tree, and there should be no stock out preventing that kid to get their favorite movie that they have asked Santa Claus for. Obviously, the parents still need to buy this. At least last time I checked. But this is something that has an emotional touch, that has everybody has either kids or knows someone who has kids and can relate, or has been a kid themselves, can relate to that one. That is a very emotional story, absolutely, but it really distills what this is about in a very different way. This is why we're doing that one. This is the ultimate value we want to achieve here. And that helps others to tell the story for you. You can they will tell the stories to their spouses, to their partners, to their kids, to their parents, what have you, to their friends. This is what I'm doing. I fully understand that not around every project you can spin such a story. But at least you should think about how you can make this more relatable and think about the actual outcomes, not just in financial numbers or some kind of software release installed. What is behind that software release? What is it really making happen at that time? And with this, you build buzz and show confidence in what you're doing in the project you're about to engage in. And that gives us the ability to signal scarcity of slots in the project team. In some organizations, you will basically get assigned project team members. And sometimes you get good project team members, sometimes you don't. And based on your position in the company, you have less or more say in that one. But what if actually people want to work for your project? What about people actually volunteering within the organization to work for your project? They say, hey, actually, what is it? Can I work with you? Because I know your projects are successful. There's a fear of missing out, actually. And the nicest thing I had 2 projects back when one of my project team members approached me at the end of the project and says, hey, boss, what's the next cool thing we can do together? Then you know you nailed it. Select a cool name and a cool logo that goes with this. And be a little bit shameless. Again, this is not in our blood as Germans, but be a little bit shameless in that one, but don't be stupid. Don't burn the bridges, okay? Once you've done this at project start, you're probably in a better position now during the project. Now, but you continue. Why would you do shameless marketing during the project? To keep the team and the stakeholders motivated and focused. Keep the executives at the C-level engaged in your project, and keep your social environment, beside your friends, your family, supportive. If they know why you're doing this one, what is behind that project, why it is important. They will be more supportive when you have an all-nighter to pull, when you have to work overtime, when it might be weekend work in some projects. They will be more supportive if they know why this is important. And not just, you're gone for a weekend or so. So that's why you want to volunteer during the marketing during the project. And your start position is a marketing at project start. You continue with this one. And how you do this one, you always use your project branding. When you talk about your project, when you report about your project, when you write about your project, you, your project team, your project sponsor, your project stakeholders, everybody is using the branding. And tell them, why are we doing this story over and over and over and over again, and over to the people, not just once, repeatedly. And when then some team members approach and say, hey, boss, we got it. We now understand the why, and we've heard it often enough. Then you do it one more time, and then it's good. Then they really understand. Again, be shameless but not stupid in doing that one. Well, make it very good. Be very careful with external social media marketing. For 2 reasons. Number one, it's very easy then to reveal internal information, confidential information, which you don't want. Number 2, if you write about successes of the project in midstream and you run later in rough waters, then your previous social media marketing activities might look super stupid. And I've seen project managers doing that one, and that did not end well for them. But what you can already do during the project, especially if there are some less busy times, prepare the marketing plan for the post-project marketing, which we talk about in a moment. You can absolutely do this. And now we talk about the marketing after the project. Why would you do this? You want to get the recognition and the visibility. First for your project and the team, then for you as project manager. Not the other way around. Absolutely. First the team, then the project manager. Position the team and yourself for the next project and or the next career move. Think about the flywheel we had on the earlier slide. Let the world know about what the project, the team, and you have achieved. And after all, let's be honest and a little bit shameless. It's about personal satisfaction too. And that's completely okay. Why not? Let's admit it. Your start position is your project outcome or lack thereof. Obviously, what you have to sell essentially. Your image with the team and stakeholders. You might have a positive project outcome, but you completely burnt your team and stakeholders. Well, that makes it as well difficult to market. but be aware where you stand, what your image is, that you can work with this one. And you put out a post-project marketing plan. By the way, when I talk about post-project marketing plan, I'm not talking about a dissertation of 100 pages. This could be 1, 2, 3 pages, not more. This is something you can write up in the late afternoon or evening when you're on a train going home. Or if you're sitting in a hotel in the evening on a business trip. Doesn't take longer than that. We're not talking about here an insane amount of papers, slides or pages. Now, what can you do? Marketing after the project. First of all, you market the project content. How can you do that one? Think about internal or industry awards that you can apply for. We've done that one, going basically our some years back in the aviation industry, a so-called Janes Award, which kind of the Oscar, therefore technology 1 year, which is great. And there are surely in your industry, in your organization as well, awards that you can apply for. Consider articles and press releases. Talk to your corporate communications team. Quite often they're very happy that someone comes to them and says, I might have a cool topic, a cool project that might be can be leveraged in internal or external articles and press releases, and so that the corporate communication can do not have to run around and frantically search for topics. They love it when you come to them. Maybe sometimes say, "Hey, might not be good enough, or not. We cannot release this externally, but still, at least you show proactivity." Think about patents. Can what you have built be patented? Very few projects think about that one. We've got 2 patents out of that one, of other projects. Think about it. Can it be patented? And that brings a lot of glory to your project outcome. Think about organizational or even international or national best practices and standards. Think about the PMBOK 8. After all, the PMBOK 8 is written by volunteers. I was on the 6th edition writing team. I was on the 8th edition review team. The whole PMBOK is written based on best practices coming from actual projects. So why not your project or program? If you have had success, if you had lessons learned, if you have best practices, consider working on the project management framework of your organization. Or again, go with PMI and work on one of the standard or practice guides. And there's so much more.
Dirk, can I stop you just to ask a question in terms of patents?
Yeah.
So could you give us an example of, I don't know, a project that is also a patent? And also, is it like, yeah, I don't know, just in Germany or just in Austria, or what is the suggestion here?
No, I can give you an example. We built a system for flight plan optimization for an international, one of the biggest airlines in the world. And part of this one was an AI optimization system algorithm that we've created around as part of this. So not the whole project, it was a part of this one. And we noticed there's no one else who has patented that one. AI is a hot topic. In Germany, can't directly patent AI, but we basically kind of the whole structure around the actual AI that was patentable. And so we are the only ones in the world at the moment who have an AI or the framework around an AI patented for so-called notice to airmen optimization. If you are in the industry, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not in the industry, go like, what is this? I can just tell you, it's very important for your flight safety. But this is basically, we've taken an aspect of the, not the whole project, but an aspect of the project, which was innovative. And we've got that patented in Europe, in Australia, and in the US. Took 3 years, but this basically gives us really competitively a leg up compared to our competition. And it gives great renown to the specialists who came up with that one, the architect and the specialist and the project and the whole project team and the project manager. Okay, let's move on. Once you've done with the marketing of the project content, think about marketing of the project team and yourself as a project manager. How to do this one. Appraisals and awards. So annual appraisals. Make sure that for your key project team members who really helped you succeed as a project manager, because we all know as project managers, we are nothing without the team. We can do nothing really, except writing a little bit of documents maybe. So there have been very surely project team members who really did the real work under your guidance. Make sure that you appraise them, that you provide the input for the annual appraisals, and you do this not hush hush in 5 minutes. Really take the time. It will reflect well on you. It will reflect well on you by your project team members, who then get appraised by their boss. It will as well reflect good on you in the boss's eyes of that they know you took good care of their folks that have been seconded to your project. Nominate them for awards, project of the year, project team member of the year, whatever you have in your organization. Think about internal or external presentations. That you have a lunch and learn maybe at your company, where you can talk about your project and what you've done well, and maybe what hasn't worked that well for you. Or in your industry, at an industry conference or industry gathering. Conferences. Hey, PMI conferences. Half of PMI conference entries present are about actual projects. Done that one multiple times. Present a global summit about projects I've been involved with. Just have to find a good narrative, and there you go. You're in front of 200, 300 people to marketing your project, your team, and yourself. Get acclamation. Go on podcasts, interviews, articles, or send people that work for you there. So many other options. And what I see quite often, some might accidentally stumble into that one. Good. But if you sit down during the project and say, what are the podcasts that could have an interest in that one topic? What are the conferences where we could talk about this if our project succeeds? What are the awards where we could apply for? Who could be interested in that one within your organization, outside your organization? Just sit down, do a brainstorm, and then you have a list you can work off. And it doesn't happen accidentally to you. And you know what? This 1, 2, or 3 hours that you spend on this brainstorm, I would say this is very well invested time down the road. Take my word for it. So we're gonna move a little further. Let's talk a bit about a very special case of shamelessness, the marketing of project failures. Now, this is the chance to salvage your reputation, but you need to be very careful about this. If you have delivered no value at all during the project with the project outcome, honestly speaking, this is very hard to pull off, and I would counsel you not to try it. But if your value has been delivered, but the effort and expense is higher than originally anticipated, focus on the long term. They say, you know what? Yes, we ran over budget, we blew the timeline, but what we've delivered here is so great. We should talk about that one. And giving you 2 examples. The Sydney Opera House. You all know this, the iconic building, where everyone has now in front of their mental eyes. Are you aware that this was delayed by multiple years and had massive cost overruns? Who cares nowadays? No one. Yes, it wasn't great probably for the project managers during the steering committee meetings, but the value the Sydney Opera House has given to the city of Sydney and to Australia as a whole in terms of public image is so much more worth. It is a huge success. Giving another example, Thomas mentioned at the beginning, both of us met in Stockholm for PMI conference. There's one huge example in Stockholm. Who has heard the story about the Vasa? The warship that sunk around 400 years ago. Made it just, I think, 2 miles out of the harbor and then sank, actually sank in the harbor. Complete project disaster. Couldn't be bigger. Your biggest ship of your navy sinks in front of everybody in Stockholm. Not a good outcome for project manager. Well, 400 years later, it is the most visited museum in Sweden, making a fortune for Sweden and for the image of Sweden. Well, it took 400 years to become a success, but still good project marketing. Took a while, but just 2 examples, okay? Now, but if you attempt this, I don't think you want to really wait for 400 years. If you want to kind of salvage your reputation there, I can only advise you, never do this in an emotional state. Be very calm. If you need something to get off your chest, don't do it in public. Talk to your partner, wife, friend, dog, beer, glass of wine, whatever it is, or write it down for yourself. But don't go public with this one, please. Don't do this in an emotional state. Because you might be emotional if your project failed. And do not reveal any internals of the project unless they are already public. That could happen accidentally. Be very careful about that one. That means only talk in public about the project failure if you have very clear and realistic objective of rectifying the perception of a project failure. And that means you need to get your story straight, and you need to rehearse your story with a trusted source giving you feedback if you got a good story to tell here, or if you better shut up and just swallow your pride and move on. Important, never blame others. This makes you a complete loser if you do this one. And if you blame someone in doing this, only blame circumstances and or nature, if appropriate, but never blame others. This is a complete boneheaded move to do. Now, let's talk about the don'ts of project marketing. What you shouldn't do when you do project marketing. Never ever reveal confidential information in marketing. And do not infringe on copyrights or intellectual property while doing that one. Always double check. Extremely important. Because that makes a brilliant marketing move immediately a potentially fireable offense. You don't want to go there. Don't undersell. You have a story to tell. Be proud of this. Be proud of your project. Be proud of your project team. And be proud of what you've done as a project manager. Also, don't oversell. Don't sell something that isn't there, or is not there in the perception of others. Don't forget to market your team. I've seen some project managers trying to market themselves first. Absolutely don't do this. Your project team and your project stakeholders will notice this one immediately, and it will backfire on you. First the team, then yourself. Very clearly. Always remember that one. And ultimately, don't be stupid, but a little bit shameless. Okay? So you can take a step further than you maybe feel 100% comfortable about. I'm going to give you an example. I called this presentation Shameless Project Marketing. I've submitted this initially for the Global Summit of last year, PMI Global Summit in Phoenix. And before I sent the submission for the call for presentation, I sat here on this desk and said, do I call this project marketing or shameless project marketing? Surely more people will attend if I call this shameless project marketing. But wouldn't this be a little bit shameless? I was sitting there for half an hour. Shall I submit the name or shouldn't I? Shall I, shouldn't I? Shall I, shouldn't I? And I decided at the end to be a little bit shameless. Why not? It has paid off. But again, I've presented this as well in the Middle East, by the way, these slides, in a slightly Middle East themed version. I removed the word shameless there because in that cultural context, that wouldn't be appropriate. That would have just been stupid. Okay? In a context in the States or in Europe, that is kind of okay. In other cultural contexts, that's not okay anymore. And that's why I've taken this off. So again, don't be stupid, but a little bit shameless. And with this, let's talk about the key takeaways of project marketing. And probably most of you have heard about the more approach of PMI. So you want to manage the perceptions, the M. You want to manage shamelessly. And this is what project marketing is about, that you manage the perceptions of your stakeholders of your environment. You want to own project success beyond just a PM process and you want to do this without shame. You own the if you have delivered project success, why not own it? Absolutely. And there's no shame in relentlessly reassessing the project parameters to drive project marketing. And you want to expand the perspective, not just on the project, but beyond the project, before the project, after the project, without fear of shame. And with this, key takeaways, we talked about communication, stakeholder management, and project marketing. Remember the first rule, do good stuff and talk about this. The good stuff is value of your project delivered is higher than the effort and expenses needed to deliver that project. Think about the flywheel from marketing and project start during the project to the end of and after the project so that you get the visibility and the reputation and get the next project you want. We talked about branding, talked about project marketing at the project start, during the project, at the end of the project, and after the project. We talked about how to market project failures and what not to do in project marketing. And at the end of the day, I would implore you to do more project marketing, as shameless as you consider appropriate in your context. And with this, I'm open here for questions and answers. Thank you. Well, let me just go here. So here you find my LinkedIn code. So you can connect with me if you want. But again, as I said, open now for any questions that might be out there. And yeah, so let's see what we have.
Thomas has a question. He has his hand raised.
Please, Thomas.
Yeah, well, I was just playing around with the hand, but I can ask the question for sure. Shameless is very much related, I think, to ethical thinking, ethical behavior. Can you make a connection between the PMI Code of Ethics and being shameless in marketing and other things, projects?
So I want to make it very clear, the PMI Code of Ethics absolutely applies. And when I talk about shamelessness, this is not implying that we should go against the Code of Ethics. That is the absolute foundation for everything. I want to make that one absolutely clear here. When I talk about shamelessness, this is about moving a little bit out of your comfort zone. This is what this is about. Because most of us, at least in German culture, are trained as well to just let the work speak for itself. That sometimes is not enough. I want to be honest with you. So you need to market the work your team does and your work. And that means as well to get a little bit out of your comfort zone. So, and you shouldn't be shameful about this, about moving and to being present, to be visible, to market this. This is what I mean with shamelessness. Not to have shame in doing that one. Always in your cultural, in your company or organizational and your industry context in an appropriate manner. But for most of us, maybe not for all of us, for most of us, this is pushing a little bit beyond our safe space outside of your comfort zone. And that's what this is meant, what's meant here. And after all, let's be honest, how many of you have gotten into this call here saying, reading the advertisement saying, shameless project marketing, really? I need to hear this. Maybe this is interesting. So it worked.
Yeah.
It's a provocative
Thank you.
title, I must admit, but basically the shameless part is being bold.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
having courage, bold and having courage.
Absolutely.
And to be prepared, well prepared,
Always.
actually.
And be a little bit shameless, but don't be stupid. That's important
course.
part here.
Do we
All
have
right.
other questions? If you're feeling
Okay.
shy or not, I may pronounce this wrong.
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
Dinesh.
Yeah. No, thanks. Yeah, maybe I ask a question. So, like you said, Dirk, everything is a little bit difficult, right? In terms of changing your mindset and then having to talk about everything that you do and the team does and all of this. So, if I were to take one small thing and start tomorrow, what would you recommend?
Think about
At
branding
work.
your project if you haven't done this yet.
Okay.
That you have a catchy name for your project. I mean, it's obviously much easier if you had the project start, very obviously, than in midstream. That is a bit more difficult. So if it's too late to really brand your project because you're more getting toward the end and then it might feel a little bit haphazard, then I would think about sitting down for 1 or 2 hours doing this project marketing plan brainstorm. Write down what podcast, awards, appraisals, conferences, what have you, could be interested in what you're doing there.
Thanks.
So that is what I would recommend. I think that's the easiest starter. Okay. Next
And
question.
to comment on this, Dirk, I found when you do this brainstorming exercise with the team and you discuss different options, you also create buy-in for the project. Because after that, everybody knows, okay, this is our project, this is a new name for that, and we will use it. And that's
Absolutely.
project marketing.
Absolutely.
I have a question.
Sure.
There was a sentence somewhere along the slides. Basically, it's like a consultation with the first name before you put something in front of people. I want to ask you, sometimes the surroundings are not allowing us to have maybe a good feedback. What I mean by good, a realistic feedback, maybe with a dose of reality, because sometimes with the idea, me myself, I can speak, I can go in a very broad direction with the whole thing. So I need somebody or a group of people to put me back, like to make it compact and maybe to give a freshness into that. If you when people don't have it, do you have maybe a tip where people can search that if they cannot find it in their surroundings?
Friends,
Without spilling, of course, the delicate parts, should I say? It should be crafted more.
Friends, maybe other PMI at the PMI event, talk to people. Again, obviously, the information you reveal during that conversation needs to be appropriate, as you correctly said. But or your partner, brainstorm with someone you trust in your family, in your circle of friends, in your environment that you trust to give an honest feedback on your thoughts, and maybe as well to do this. That would be my recommendation. So sometimes I run ideas by my wife, and sometimes my wife is, after 30 years of marriage, saying, Dirk, that is not a good idea. I wouldn't do this. And we're like, thanks, honey. Or whomever, but that is but remember one thing, if you do project marketing, there's a high likelihood, no guarantee, but a high likelihood, but you will stand out in your organization because very few project managers are doing this. So this by itself always makes you stand out and gives you visibility if you do this properly. Again, a little bit shameless, but not stupid.
Thank you so much for answering that. Other questions? If you're feeling shy, you can write in the chat.
Yes, I would have a question. Dirk, how do you get an internal project lead to do shameless marketing when it's not in their nature?
Good question. Let's be honest, it's not for everyone. The best advice I've start small. Maybe don't go start with a branding or something, but maybe with the why story, with a little bit of, hey, can we maybe talk about appraisals, or is there maybe something for the organizational newsletter we can put out there? Start small, and build on that one. For some people, it comes natural. For some people, it doesn't. And honestly, not everyone will fully get there. But again, take it step by step. But you don't have to tell them, we are doing project marketing now, because then some people will say, no, we won't. Absolutely not. That's not my thing. But if you say, hey, have you ever thought about the patent? Can we patent this one? Or there's this project of the year of what maybe, because there's a bonus tied to that one. Maybe you should submit for that one. Make it a little bit sneaky. Without saying project marketing.
Thank you.
That's even shameless, isn't it? But hey, if it works, so what?
Thanks.
All right. Any other questions? Well then.
Well then, if there are no more questions,
I say thank you for attending the session.
Thank you.
As well as collaborating here, opening the mic, and stay slightly shameless. And with this, thanks a lot. Just in time, as I should be. Excellent.
So in this part of the webinar, I would kindly ask you to scan the QR code or just write the Menti and the code above and rate this webinar. This is of great value for us, so we can measure our webinars and improve maybe in the future.
Would you please post the link in the chat? Then it's much easier for us.
Yes, gladly.
Thank you.
By the way, the slides will be shared, I think, afterwards. Oh, yeah, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The slides will be shared in an email.
Maybe I have a question to the audience while you are doing that Mentimeter. Who of you will now start with something regarding what you learned today? Because a lot of you in the beginning said you're not doing project marketing, but now are you considering to change your opinion on that? Maybe you will start and try something, experiment.
Yeah, definitely.
Good luck with that one.
Thank you.
Arnold, yeah, good. Branding, yes, also. But it's a part of it, as it was presented.
Yeah, I also find it valuable to involve the team members in the marketing. So, for example, normally you have team members from production, from marketing, product marketing. If they in their organizations can also, of course, this means that inside the team you have to agree on what you use in marketing so that you get really the same message everywhere.
Yeah.
Very good. Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's another question.
Yes, yeah, thank you, Dirk, for the great presentation. And actually, yeah, first of all, I have one comment. Yeah, I fully agree. This is a project marketing is important, and I think this especially for the funding program, right? Is in our European Germany we have a lot of funding program, and this project marketing really in the every project stage at the beginning is very important and very a master task for the for the project but it's for the industry for the projects especially in the company internal or in the productive system. Yeah, it's due to the failure risk, different risks. It's maybe it's not and due to the company culture, internal culture is maybe not normal. Yeah, but it's definitely it's I think it makes sense. Yeah, and I see a lot of our members would like to have a try. It's really a good thing. And my question is the difference between the marketing, the project marketing and the sales marketing. Is how about your experience and to combine the both together or?
Well, I mean, it depends a little bit on the industry and the type of project you're running. There might be, for example, projects that are building something, a product in some form. Giving an example, I did this presentation a few months ago in Dubai, and I had asked as well the audience there, does your project have a name? As almost all the projects were in construction, building some high rise, and all the high rises there have a name like Birch Azizi or what have you, or Birch Mercedes. Obviously, that was the title of the project. So sales marketing and project marketing were the same, easy. And if you develop a product, sometimes that is the situation that basically the product name is your project name. But sometimes Apple is known for that one, Google is known for that one. When they develop a new product, they are using a kind of a code name for this one. It is known, giving an example, Apple was developing for several years a car, the so-called Apple car, and the project was called Project Titan, and was abandoned after all. But that was a code name. And so a lot of these things have code names. But a lot of the projects do not have a direct product outcome like a skyscraper or something to sell. And at that point, you might not have a sales marketing to latch on. Again, just saying about the product, there might be sometimes a situation where you don't want the product name or the project marketing to reveal what the product is about that you're building. So at that point, you consciously do a distraction, essentially. Still, it should be inspiring, but not revealing what it is about.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much.
Welcome. Any other questions?
Okay.
Back to you, Olja.
I will continue now. So, join our next events. The next roundtable will be on the 1st of June. And on the 8th of June, we have Project Risk Towards Uncertainty Management with Paul Cypers. And on the 17th of June, we have Project Management and Change Management, two sides of the same coin, with Alexandros Tsimplis. On this link or on the PMI Germany chapter, you can register for all of these three events.
And maybe it was not on this slide, but maybe Dirk can comment on that. We have the PMI Summit, the German event, and I think, Dirk, you already have a keynote speech at this event.
Well, I have a speech. I don't know if it's a keynote speech. I don't think so, but I'm about to find out. But yes, indeed, I will give that presentation, but in German at the PM Summit in November in Düsseldorf, indeed. So if you want to hear this again, then you can join me there in Düsseldorf, and you will say, done this once, that's more than enough, then select another presentation there. Then you know what not to look at. All right.
Maybe in between you tried out something and it worked or didn't
Let me
work,
know. Sure.
and you can give Dirk a good challenge in your question to him.
I would be delighted to get any feedback. But again, I've shown you my LinkedIn code, so if you want to connect and if you have any follow-up questions, you certainly can as well send me a note on LinkedIn, for example. No problem at all. All right.
So thank you, Dirk, and thank you, Thomas. So join our mission. This is the local group Darmstadt email. The team lead is Florian Adrian. I think that he's with us still here. He comes from France, but lives in Darmstadt. Mohamed Rezae, he lives in Darmstadt, but he's originally from Afghanistan. Tufit Habli, he's in Lebanon, Beirut. Myself, Polya Stefanovska, I come from Macedonia, but live in Stuttgart. Almira Hasanovic comes from Montenegro, but is living in Butelborn. Maria Robe, she also comes from Macedonia, but lives in Brussels. And Thomas Valenta from Germany, but Kreuznach. If you want to join our mission and become a volunteer in our local group Darmstadt, this is the link where you can apply for volunteering and joining our mission. The PDU code, and a big thank you for your attendance. Hopefully we see you on our next events.
Thank you.
Of course, I will send a separate email with Dirk Withake